Hello, folks, and we're going to talk about the 5 best coin buys, perhaps in August. These coins could explode for various different reasons. You might agree or not agree, but all these coins have big moves coming out this month. Well, 4 of the 5 do. 1, Tron. Now, yes, Justin Sun's pet project. But let's not forget, Justin Sun does have connections with the presidential family, but that's not why Tron is a top project for August. Kraken has actually spread its tokenization of stocks to Tron. Now, remember, they started with Solana, but now they are going with Tron. So that's going to get some utility to the Tron chain. Tron makes most of its money via USDT. That's going to keep going, but of course, you got to watch out for the future. USDT Tether is making its own chain, and that could be threatening to Tron. So Kraken might be helping them look out for the future. And anyways, like tokenizing stocks on Tron, we know it can accept a lot of transactions, and I think there'll be a lot of stock buying and swapping through Tron. That'll use the TRX as gas. Yeah, I'm not really too excited about using X as gas in order to boost up the price of the coin. Usually that doesn't work, but at least there's some activity on Tron, and once we get a bull run, I think that activity will spur FOMO. Tron obviously has passed its all-time high by a significant amount, going up to 43 cents this time. $1 or more, I think, is definitely in Justin Sun's crosshairs. Yes, Justin Sun, I do believe, owns most of the Tron supply, but Kraken trusts Tron enough to be the only other chain right now outside of Solana where it is going to spread its stock tokenization. And that is very, very surprising. Can't just look down on Tron and Justin Sun anymore, but they have actually more. MetaMask has integrated Tron in its ecosystem for its services. Now, MetaMask is mostly an Ethereum wallet. And of course, there's a couple of others as well, but Tron is a pretty big ecosystem. I think one of the reasons they integrated Tron was because Tron basically handles so much USDT flow, and they kind of want a piece of that. But this also makes it in the same app as a lot of Ethereum users. I think at least part of them will actually try Tron's ecosystem because the USDT is actually there. And once they try another ecosystem, they might not come back to base layer Ethereum, especially because most of the USDT natively is on TRX. So this could actually result in Tron actually stealing some Ethereum users via MetaMask, because there are a lot of users that use MetaMask wallet. It's one of the most popular wallets out there. I used to use it. But there are a lot of others, I think, that would actually use the MetaMask wallet. A lot of Ethereum users, and if Tron can take some of those, Tron can definitely make it really big. So I'm very bullish about this move. So that's 2 big pieces of bullish news for TRX. You got Kraken utilizing them for stock tokenization, which will probably take a couple of transactions from Solana, but it boosts Tron. And you have MetaMask integrating the Tron ecosystem along with the Ethereum ecosystem, thus maybe letting Tron steal a couple of users from the Ethereum ecosystem, therefore growing its own DeFi. And of course, that is going to be really, really nice for TRX. So that is why Tron makes the list. The second one I want to talk about is Link. And Chainlink actually has a buyback program. Buyback programs are good for investors. Why? Well, because when they buy the coins back, there's demand for the coin now, and it boosts up the price. So we have a little bit of detail on this, and I think that's why Chainlink has been going up the last few days. So Chainlink project has implemented a buyback program through the Chainlink Reserve, which is designed to support the long-term growth and sustainability of the network. How it works: funding the reserve. The Chainlink Reserve is funded by converting revenues generated from Chainlink services and enterprise integrations into Link tokens. This involves both on-chain service fees and off-chain revenue from enterprise customers. So when you price ping Chainlink for DeFi, obviously they take a couple of fees, and this reserve is going to be sponsored by those fees. So they're not like printing extra coins or anything. The supply is going to remain consistent, which is a very, very good thing. But they're going to use those funds to actually buy the Chainlink tokens, and that will actually take some supply off the market. And of course, since you're buying them up, you will actually improve the price of the coin. It's an automatic conversion. A system called payment abstraction programmatically converts these revenues into Link tokens, so they are buying Link tokens. Strategic accumulation. These Link tokens are then accumulated and held within the Chainlink Reserve. The buyback mechanism is intended to create persistent buying momentum for Link and strengthen its market position. So it's kind of like the BNB buyback, except they don't actually burn them. They're just holding them in their reserve for, I guess, a rainy day. And, since people do use Chainlink for DeFi, I can definitely see them actually continuously having money to actually buy back on the reserve. This might actually end up being better than BNBs, depending on how much money they can actually make from Chainlink's utility. So now Chainlink's utility, the money they generate, might actually help pump the coin up. Key points: the Chainlink reserve operates similarly to stock buyback programs, which I've explained that, by public companies, aiming to reduce the circulating supply of Link and potentially supporting its price. The initiative is presented as a pillar of Chainlink's economic framework, complementing existing fee growth and cost reduction programs, and emphasizing the network's expansion and adoption, particularly in bridging traditional finance with blockchain technology. The buyback program has reportedly had a positive impact on the price of Chainlink. You've seen that in the last couple of days, more than half its all-time high price, but still got a long way to go. It surged about 10% today, I believe. And obviously, that's very, very good news for Chainlink. Chainlink's price action has been kind of dormant for quite a long time now. A lot of people are waiting for a big pump, and obviously this could be the moment they're waiting for. Any of these buyback treasury type programs, especially by the organization itself, as long as they're committed over a large period of time, will actually help fund or boost the price of the coin. Hopefully, I'm shooting for $100 on Chainlink, but 52, 53 is the least I would actually settle for. And the other one I want to mention is Aerodrome. Now, I've mentioned this coin before, but they actually integrated with Coinbase in August. So that's actually a pretty big deal because obviously Coinbase is the biggest US exchange. I know some of you might not like Coinbase, but they still have a lot of volume, and an integration with them is a pretty good deal. So key elements: Coinbase integration. Aerodrome Finance was integrated into Coinbase's DEX trading infrastructure in early August, allowing users to access Aerodrome's liquidity pools directly from the Coinbase app. This move is seen as a significant driver in growth and liquidity for Aerodrome. And obviously, Aerodrome, they like stuff like that needs liquidity. And getting on Coinbase Wallet with its thousands of users, that will definitely help it. Those people probably have a little bit more money than most, and they're probably more invested in crypto than most. So that's a big win for Aerodrome. And Coinbase Wallet is not the same thing as regular Coinbase. It's kind of like an independent entity, but it does actually have a lot of users. It is one of the more popular wallets out there. So Coinbase has not publicly disclosed the specific number of users for their Coinbase wallet. However, Coinbase has over 100 million verified users on platform. The Coinbase wallet is a self-custody wallet, so your funds aren't actually with Coinbase, meaning users have complete control over their private keys and assets. While the Coinbase platform has a large user base, the number of users actively using Coinbase wallet is not separately specified. So we can probably assume that since Coinbase has over 100 million users, there's at least a couple million users of Coinbase wallet. Obviously, Aerodrome is being pushed by Coinbase because Aerodrome is Coinbase's own product. There's no reason they would not push their own product, obviously, to their big user base. They're obviously trying to take over Ethereum L2, and they're being pretty successful at it. Wouldn't buy Polygon or Optimism or any of those Ethereum L2s because I think Base is simply going to outcompete them. Kraken's also making an L2, so that puts even more pressure on the L2 market, and that is why I would not consider buying an L2 coin at this point. I think it wouldn't be financially smart because you could just buy Aerodrome, which Coinbase is pushing, and like a company like Coinbase pushing their wallet in people's faces, especially during a bull run, that can spur a lot of FOMO. And also, Aerodrome is the primary DEX on Base, so it's been long established as a leading DEX on Base, and I think Base is going to get a lot of DeFi action over the bull run. So you got to get some Aerodrome so you can actually profit off of that. Base doesn't have a coin itself. So I think if people really want to invest in Base, they got to look towards Aerodrome before anything else. Fourth one I want to mention is CRO. And I think people know a lot about the CRO stuff. The ETF is going to launch in October along with the other ETFs. There are some Trump connections in there for those of you that don't know, because the Trump did actually file his ETF with CRO. However, I have to say CRO has to have some precautions because they did do a coin burn a while back, but the coin burn may not actually be permanent. And what I mean by that is that they have a proposal to reissue 70 million burned CRO. So to me, if you burn a coin, it should stay burned. You just don't reissue it back. Otherwise, that's not a true burn. The whole point of a burn is to lower the supply. If you want the 70 million CRO back, just buy them off the market, boost up the price of the coin. So I'm not a huge fan of them reissuing the 70 million burn CRO. Still should be a pretty good coin though. With the ETF launching, with the exchange like expanding, I still think it will actually perform really well. I would put the other three tokens I just mentioned above them, as well as like other coins like Hyperliquid, which I think have a ton of potential, but no big particular news in the last couple of days. But just the ETF about to launch, the Trump connections, and despite the proposal to reissue 70 million burn CRO, I mean, the cards and everything, I think there's a lot of people shilling for CRO, a lot of people advertising for CRO. So I'm going to give CRO the benefit of the doubt and say it is one of those coins that could be about to blow up. And the fifth one isn't one that could really, really blow up, but it's very, very safe, and I think it'll give you good ROI, and that's BNB. BNB is basically just a much bigger and probably better version of CRO, a lot more stable. And BNB continuously does coin burns. Yes, Binance and CZ probably own like 70% of the token, if not more. But that's actually helped it in recent years. I know some of you are like, what? How can that possibly help it? Well, if you look closely, Binance, unlike other coins today, did actually hit an all-time high. And other coins have retraced 10 or 20%, but Binance hasn't. I think CZ is very smart, and he knows how to control and manipulate the supply of the coin to keep a very, very good price. Binance generally doesn't go up a huge amount as the other coins. It still goes up more than Bitcoin for the most part, but it doesn't actually go up as much as some of the other coins. However, when we actually have a drop, it doesn't drop as much either. So it doesn't take much for Binance to make new all-time highs. And Binance, I think, of all the coins in the top 50, is the one that's made the most all-time highs in this bullish season. Now, each all-time highs may be only like 5% higher than the last one, but you stack a couple of those 5% up. I mean, the last all-time high for Binance was like 636 or something like that. In the last bull run, and now it's 897. So there's a good like 30-40% above the last bull run maximum, and it's not done yet. I think out of all these coins, it's probably the closest to actually matching Bitcoin's performance cycle for cycle. And I think in the bull run ahead, because of CZ manipulation, it's got a lot more potential than Bitcoin in terms of going up. Wouldn't be surprised if Binance was over $2,000 the way it's going. Once all these coins go insane, pretty sure BNB will go insane as well. So you might want BNB as like a steadying force in your portfolio. Don't think you'll be disappointed. Don't think Binance is going anywhere. And, you know, some of you might be nostalgic for CZ, saying that, oh, I don't know about this new CEO, Richard Tang. Look at it this way. His wife is the other co-founder of Binance. She's very involved. I do believe the new CEO is somewhat of a puppet, and CZ is still the mastermind behind things. I think you have to be pretty naive to think that CZ just bowed out of Binance entirely. Yes, there is that agreement that like, oh, I won't mess with Binance's affair for 3 years. It's been about a year since then, I think. But I don't think that's real. Like, they obviously going to talk about it over the dinner table and other stuff. And like, I'm pretty sure like the new CEO probably still takes pointers from CZ. And you know what? CZ might actually become the CEO again once that 3-year agreement is up. So he's definitely intertwined in things. So yeah, even though BNB won't get you the 10x, I think it can get you like a 2.5x from here on out. And because of its stability and its penchant not to dump massively when Bitcoin goes down, I think it's a solid investment. Better probably than XRP and Solana. Solana, I do believe if you want to invest in it, it's fine, but I would look at the Solana ecosystem coins, some of the memes, but also some of the like non-meme protocols as well. I think those are going to have really, really good ROI. Like, you know, Jupiter, Radium, maybe even Orca. Obviously, look at stuff like Bonk as well. I think that will actually perform very, very well in your portfolio. But BNB, like, I think itself is a really good investment. I think better than like either XRP or Solana or even Cardano and some of the others. Like I said, upward momentum, maybe not quite as much, but you don't risk losing quite as much. And if you're doing like leverage trading on an altcoin, like I think besides Ethereum, BNB has to be your choice to actually do the leverage trading on an altcoin. 2x BNB, don't think you can go too wrong there. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.